All right, who's excited for chapter 4 of Numbers? I bet you are. And today only, actually, it'll be from now on, but we're going to cover it. So you're in luck. Numbers chapter 4, between the two translations, is not too many things of concern, but also they're very specific as to what needs to be done in the tabernacle. Since we don't have a tabernacle and we're not going to do those kind of things, I'm going to set this chapter up, but we're not going to go through all the individual details. And I know some of you just think, well, I want you to read every verse to me. No, you read it yourself. God gave you a copy too, probably. And if he didn't, call me and I will get you a copy. But I want you to read the Bible. I use uversion.com. It is a free Bible app on Android and iPhone. And to me, it is the best because it's very simple to use. It's free. You can jump around different translations and make notes and all that kind of stuff. There's a social aspect to it. I don't really recommend that. It's kind of pointless, but um, access the Bible. You have access for free if you want it, but you can't blame anything else. So we're going to cover a few details or a few verses, and then we'll get into the details of chapter 4 of the book of Numbers. Let's go. I'm going to read from the New Living Translation. Then the Lord said to Moses and Aaron, record the names of the members of the clans and families of the Kohathite division of the tribe of Levi. List all the men between the ages of 30 and 50 who are eligible to serve in the tabernacle. So the duties of the Kohanites at the tabernacle will relate to the most sacred objects. When camp moves, Aaron and his sons must enter the tabernacle first to take down the inner curtain, cover the Ark of the Covenant with it. Then they must cover the inner curtain with fine goatskin leather and spread it out over a single piece of blue cloth. Finally, they must put the carrying poles of the ark in place. And then the next few verses kind of go through some of those details that they're supposed to do, meaning the leaders involved and ultimately responsible, but there are very specific things God wants done and how he wants them done. And even though these don't apply to us, we should see the principle that he is very clear in what he wants and what he doesn't want on most things. We just ignore it, not that we don't understand it. Okay, so that's my hopeful sermon for today. So we'll jump down to verse 29 that says, now record the names of the members of the clans and families of the Merarite division of the tribe of Levi. List all the men between the ages of 30 and 50 who are eligible to serve in the tabernacle. Their only duty at the tabernacle will be to carry loads. They will carry the frames of the tabernacle, the crossbars, the post, and the bases. Also the posts for the courtyard walls and their bases, pegs, and rope, and all the accessories, everything else related to their use. Assign the various loads to each man by name. So then we'll jump on down a little bit more to the verse 46, and it says, so Moses and Aaron and the leaders of Israel listed all the Levites by their clans and families, all the men between 30 and 50 years of age who were eligible for service, meaning they'd been redeemed, they were of the right tribe and all that kind of stuff, for its transportation. And that numbered 8,580 people. So when their names were recorded as the Lord had commanded through Moses, each man was assigned his task and told what to carry. And so the registration was completed just as the Lord had commanded Moses. And that's really what we're supposed to do today. We've all been given certain gifts and tasks, and most of us know what those are. We have some idea what those are. Maybe they're not super clear, maybe you're not super clear, but prayer and asking for that will help clear some of that up. But God's given us very specific tasks, and he intends for us to carry those out. Not say, well, you picked the wrong person, or you forgot to give me this, or he didn't make me the lead singer of a band because I can't sing. So if I'm just sitting around saying, hey, you've called me to lead this band, but you never gave me the gift of singing, that would make God a little chaotic, like he doesn't know what he's doing. But God does know what he's doing, and he's given us all an assignment. And most of us are barely keeping up with that assignment because we just have excuses, not because we don't understand it or don't know it. We just choose to ignore it to some extent. So in other words, that was apparently not the only sermon of this particular video. So Remember, tribalism is the culture of the Bible. The tribal mindset is what we're learning here and seeing, I guess. So sometimes we think, well, everybody's like us. It's like, no, overwhelmingly, most people are not like us. They, especially at this particular time, it was all about tribes. What tribe or clan you were part of mattered about everything, where you lived, how far you could go, how safe you were. So in the late 17th century, called the Enlightenment, governments and societal structures were based on economics rather than on common beliefs and blood. We started to set up countries, so to speak. So we created borders and government processes and stuff. So the world wasn't really controlled, or your world wasn't really controlled by your clan, your family, patriarch. It was controlled by some central place, kind of like in the United States. So most of the world, though, is still tribal. That's just, we learned that in Iraq and Desert Storm and Afghanistan and Ukraine. This still is a very dominant part of the world. So the most influential unit in a tribal culture is the clan. So a clan is really just a large extended family. So a clan's identity goes back to the founder that clan was named after. In tribalism, there is a never-ending battle for clan superiority. That's just what you do. That's the culture. So the first clan to be counted in this new census is the Kohanites. The clan transported the most sacred and most dangerous objects. Aaron and Moses belonged to this clan, the Kohath. In verse 5, we find that the sacred objects and furnishings of the tabernacle were too holy to even be handled by these set apart Levites. So they had to be wrapped and packed by the priest before this clan of movers could kind of come in and take care of everything. So the priest, Eleazar, is the supervisor over the Levites transporting the sacred objects. So we watch a foundational principle we've seen throughout the Bible is God is dividing, electing, and separating. He is taking things and changing it to fit his needs, not ours. Sometimes he divides something and we're like, oh no, that was a mistake. I'll put it back together. But God divided it for a reason. And we're supposed to be divided, elected, and set apart, separated. So Israel is a completely set apart nation. Israelites are born into a special higher status than us. It says it in the Bible, argue with God about it. The tribe of Levi was given a holy status above the rest of Israel. He has separated them from the separated people. So Jehovah demands order, not chaos. And so he creates hierarchies of authority because it's just his pattern. We don't need the why, we just what's the pattern? God gives higher and lower worth to various humans for his purposes, just as he gives lower and higher status to his spiritual servants, the angels and the cherubim. Paul in 1 Corinthians 12 says this, now there are varieties of gifts, but the same Spirit. There are varieties of ministries and the same Lord. There are varieties of effects, but the same God who works all things in all persons. But to each one is given the manifestation of the Spirit for the common good. And God has appointed in the church first apostles, second prophets, third teachers, then miracles, then gifts of healing, helps, administrations, various kinds of tongues. All are not apostles, are they? All are not prophets, are they? All are not teachers, are they? All are not workers of miracles, are they? All do not have gifts of healings, do they? All do not speak with tongues, do they? All do not interpret, do they? The second principle is that it takes different skills and different jobs working together to perform the many function, all the different functions that form an entire and complete community. Like, I can't be the guy in charge of building houses. I don't know how to build a house. I got to be in charge of something else. So we all need different gifts, and God gives us the ones that we need that serve his purposes. Maybe they're not ours. That's why we got to get on his will, not our own. So everyone has a duty. Not one believer got passed over for a spiritual gift. Worship and walking with God is dangerous, and you could get hurt, especially if you're making it up as you go along. You need to do it the way he wants us to do it. And the only way that we should do it is the way he said. So if you're not battered and bruised, and you've probably been sitting it out, you've probably been sitting on the sidelines. Like, I've not really done that much. I haven't done any of the hard work. I've just kind of benefited from it. So we should not think that Yobi would allow us to get away with that, expecting no repercussions. I mean, imagine your son comes home from, going to the store with $100, and he comes home with a Coke. And he's like, yeah, what about everything I gave you? Why didn't you use it the way I wanted you to use it? Well, I got there and I just found a better deal. I found a better way to do it. No, you found an easier way to do it. God's way is not always the easiest. It's rarely the easiest. Do it God's way, because we're all going to pay a price in some way or another for our disobedience. He says that over and over again. So God bless. Don't have guilt. Don't have sadness. Just ask God to show you, and then go running full speed for it. God bless you. Love God, love people, and change the world. God bless.